Hey, what's up YouTube? It's abluegolfball here today with another Pokemon TCG online video, and today I have for you guys a pretty interesting deck. This deck was requested by Wind Waker Zero Rules, and Wind Waker Zero Rules requested to build a Sylveon Gyarados Dragalge deck, and I thought, oh, that's pretty interesting. We could definitely play this in the standard format since we're going to be focused on Sylveon here. It's going to be a lock deck of some sort. Sylveon is the 90 HP fairy type Pokemon. It's got the attack Curly Ribbon, hits for 30, move and energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon to one of his or her benched Pokemon. And Echoed Voice hits for 50, and then you can do 50 more damage. You can hit for 100, but we may not be focused on that. It is a 1 retreat cost. We are weak to metal. We do have darkness resistance, so that's kind of nice. But why this is a lock deck is because the plan here is to use Gyarados to use Poisonous Nest, and then of course have Dragalge with Poison Barrier, and they can't retreat. And this way, you just keep moving energies to like a bench Pokemon that's pretty useless, and go about it that way, right? Now, what makes this deck really good is that I'm going to be playing this in the expanded format. We are throwing in Dusknoir, and I think Dusknoir deserves a huge spot in this deck. This deck is pretty bulky with Pokemon. It's got 21 total, but I feel like this, you can pull this off, and it's pretty fun, all right? Stick with me here. You guys gotta, this is good. This is good. It's the 130 HP Psychic Pokemon. It's got the ability Sinister Hand. This is from back in Boundaries Cross, but reprinted in Plasma Blast. Sinister Hand is often used during your turn before you attack. You may move one damage counter from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another Pokemon on your opponent's side of the field. And this is really powerful because what you want to do is you want to keep hitting Curly Ribbon to your opponent's active Pokemon and moving the energies to a useless Pokemon on the bench. And if your opponent does not have any useless Pokemon on the bench, keeping that active Pokemon out there stuck in the active spot with the poison damage from Gyarados' Poisonous Nest and Dragalge's Poison Barrier, what you want to do is move those damage counters. Use Dusknoir's ability. Move those damage counters to the Pokemon with all those energies and take away that Pokemon. Take it out of the game, and then your opponent would lose all those energies. Of course, there's certain circumstances where you don't want to do that in scenarios where, let's say, I don't know, your opponent can use Energy Retrieval or Mega Turbo, things like that. You don't really want energies in the discard pile, so it's kind of risky. You got to play it by ear and see what you need to do, but so this is the Pokemon line there, and that's it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the items and whatnot. Since this is in the expanded format, we're going to use in computer search. We will have one Hypnotoxic Laser in scenarios where we can't use Gyarados' Poisonous Nest if we're up against Grass-type Pokemon. We have Lullaby Ball here. Got to have those since a lot of Pokemon are under 90 HP. We have Sacred Ash to get some Pokemon back into our deck from the discard pile. Target Whistle. We have one of these. You may want to play more of them. I don't know. This is kind of nice. I do like Target Whistle in scenarios where you're going to be using Dusknoir Sinister Hand. You can keep moving damage counters onto a weak Pokemon, use Target Whistle, bring them back, and do this all over again. So you never know. I don't know. Especially with people playing Execute, right? You can do that and just easy knockouts every time. We have Ultra Ball here, mostly for the Dragalge and the Dusknoir. We have VS Seeker. Gotta have 3 of these and 1 Colress. Oh, yeah, I miss having Colress. Especially when you're playing with Skyfield in play. We have Lysander, of course. Here's an N. 3 of these. We got 3 N's and 1 Professor Birch's Observation, 3 Junipers, and then Team Flare Grunt could come in handy as well to discard some energy cards and slow your opponent down a little bit. That's it for the supporter. We have 1 Fairy Garden here and 1 Training Center. The Training Center definitely can come in handy since Sylveon's only 90 HP. Giving that extra 30 HP could be pretty useful. We have Sparkling Robe to protect ourselves from our own Poisonous Nest. And then here's the Headringer to trouble our opponent some more and just to annoy them some more. Here's the Fairy Energy, and that's it. 8 Fairy Energies since we're very energy efficient, only needing 1 energy to hit for Curly Ribbon, and sometimes we really need to. We can hit for an Echo Voice. So, with that said, this is it for the deck. If you guys have any questions, feel free to post your comments below for this deck analysis. But let's go ahead and see this deck in action on Pokemon TCG Online. Alright, looks like we're going to be playing against Snow, whatever. I apologize, couldn't pronounce their name correctly. But anyways, let's take a look here. We get the opportunity to go first. That is great. That way we can evolve first. Now, we start off here. We see my opponent's playing a dark deck of some sort. Looks like Fairy Energies are in there too. We're going to lead with the Eevee out here. And then, of course, we can always play the Duskull. But we got to wait and see. Now, We don't have the best of hands, but it's pretty decent as long as we have an N right here. And plus my opponent, ooh, we got a computer search here. I'm going to play the energy right here. We're going to go ahead and evolve into the Sylveon. Might as well play the Sparkling Robe right here, right now. Let's go ahead and discard the Colress and an N. I think we're going to go with that. And you know what? Let's get the Spinnerack. I think that'll be a really good way just to get these guys set up. Or we could go with the Hypnotoxic Laser and start to chip away at my opponent. Maybe even put him to sleep. Oh, never mind. We flip tails. Let's go for the N. And we do get a training center. I'm going to hang on to that in case my opponent counters the stadium. And so we didn't... oh, man. We're going to have to end up junipering a lot of things. We will end up playing the training center in the next turn. We can play another energy down on the Eevee and do another energy... evolution here. We see my opponent play Town Map. There's 3 energies in the prize cards, an Ace Trainer right there, as well as an N and a Muscle Band. We see an Eeveelutions hit the field onto the bench. Probably could see my opponent, maybe, I don't know, we could see a Darkrai as well. Could see my opponent retreat for free. This is in the expanded format. Never mind, all we see is a switch. We see my opponent play a Muscle Band. Here is a Shadow Circle. Thank goodness we held on to that, yeah, that training center, or the stadium we had earlier. All right, my opponent plays down a Dangerous Energy. Perfect. This plays right into my hands. I don't know why my opponent did that, but that's what he did. So let's go ahead. We're going to play the Spinnerack. I'm going to use the Juniper and discard our hand. I could have gone for the Dusclops, but, you know, I think I'd rather have a chance of getting the Spinnerack. But, hey, anyways, we've got the Dusclops right here. We could probably play another Duskull if we really wanted to. I might go for the Scralp here and get all my Pokemon, all my little basics into play. But let's go ahead and grab the Gyarados instead. Let's go for the Curly Ribbon. Hit for 30. Move that and discard it because that poor Lucario on the bench ain't a dark Pokemon. And there it goes. So my opponent plays a VS Seeker, goes for the Colress. We'll be able to draw into 4 cards. We even get a red card into a really good hand. Oh my goodness. We get the Ultra Ball here. We can discard the Duskull and the Fairy Energy. We can get the Dusknoir. VS Seeker for the N again. Looking really good. We could probably even go for the Colress if we really wanted to, but, you know, we need... Oh, never mind. My opponent concedes the match, and that's it. You can see right here, there's some really good consistency with this deck, and we're able to get out all the Pokemon we need. It flowed pretty well. I'm pretty impressed how fast I was able to set up, and we were able to pull off one attack with Sylveon, and that was it. So, all right, on to the next match. Here we go. All right, and looks like we're going to be playing against Eraton F. Sylvia. Let's take a look and see what's going to happen here. In that previous match, we were able to get a really good start. We were able to get everything set up. Hopefully, we can do the same right here, and maybe we can go first again. Never mind, my opponent will be going first, but this actually gives us a pretty good opportunity to attack right away. If we get an Eevee in the active spot and play down a Fairy Energy and evolve, we can go ahead and hit for the Curly Ribbon right off the bat. My opponent is playing a Grass deck, so it seems, so that could be very problematic for us since we're going to be using Gyarados. We only have 1 Hypnotoxic Laser, so we got to wait. Maybe use that pretty wisely. I'm not too sure how I do feel about that. We have 1 Gyarados in our hand, an Eevee in our hand as well, so we can play the Computer Search, perhaps get an N, maybe shuffle our hand again, preserve that Hypnotoxic Laser. I'm not too sure, but one thing's for sure, we can play down the energy and use the energy evolution, evolve the Eevee into the, what is it, the, I was going to say Espeon. Yeah, I'm losing my mind. Sylveon, that's right. We have a VS Seeker available to us as well. So this is looking very flexible right now. Very, very flexible. I mean, we could just go aggressive right away, play the Hypnotoxic Laser, and, you know, say, like, to heck with it. You know, who cares if we can't use Poisonous Nest? But either way, I think I'd like to play the Gyarados right away. If my opponent is playing... Oh, look at that. We see a Malamar EX. So in this kind of scenario, I do want to play... At some point, I do want Gyarados to come into play. Oh, we even see a Hoopa EX. This is great. This way we can do things like Lysander out these non-grass Pokemon, use Gyarados, and eventually, hopefully, we can get Squirrel going and get Geology. My opponent was able to get... Oh, we see a Mega Sceptile. 2 Sceptile EXs hit the field. We also see a Virizion on the right over there. Here's the Sceptile EX hitting for, was it Sleep Poison, Unseen Claw. We see this switch into the Sceptile EX right off the bat right there, and then it Mega Evolves because of that Stadium card. So we could use the Hypnotoxic Laser. I think I might just do that. Now, again, this is pretty cool. We can move the Grass Energy onto that Hoopa EX, and we know that Hoopa EX will never attack. So let's just go ahead. We'll just Hypnotoxic Laser. Might as well use that right now. And we'll just go. We're going to go for the Duskull instead. Let's go and get these Juniper here, drawn a fresh hand size of... Ooh, look at that. We can get the Dusclops. Let's go ahead and get the Spinnerack, perhaps. We're going to go for the Scralp, though. But... Let's take a look and see. I will probably, yeah, let's counter the stadium. I don't want my opponent to, take advantage of that stadium any more than he already has. We could go for perhaps maybe get the Spinnerack now. We could have gone for the Dusknoir, but all right. So we got the Dusclops in the next turn, and we even have an end. So we're looking really good. Let's go ahead and do the Curly Ribbon. Move this energy onto the Hoopa EX over there. The Hoopa EX is never gonna attack. If anything, we can drag it out and it could retreat. So what I'd like to do is use the Malamar at some point, Lycian out the Malamar EX instead, and that way Spinneracks we can start using Poisonous Nest with Gyarados. We see my opponent play the Trainer's Mail. Here is a Professor Sycamore, and this is looking pretty interesting here. My opponent can definitely, you never know. You can draw 7 cards. You can use something like Energy Switch. You could use, oh, never mind. We see a switch. We're going to get hit for a Sleep Poison. My opponent can actually put us to sleep, but if we can get that, what do you call it, the Sparkling Robe, that can help us tremendously. And here is the Spinnerack on my opponent's side of the field. So once we get that Sparkling Robe, we should be a little bit more safe. And thank goodness my opponent flipped tails. We're not poisoned. We're not asleep. We do have the Dusclops here. Let's go ahead and play the energy here. Go for the energy evolution. Oh my goodness. That's the last Sylveon. So we could play this Eevee right here. I don't mind doing that. It's not a terrible idea. But again, I'd rather, since all the Sylveons are gone, but might as well, let's play it. Maybe we can get the Sylveon from the prize cards at some point. So we can get the Dusknoir, could get the Gyarados, I suppose, just to set this up. We're not in a hurry to get the Dusknoir, nor are we in a hurry to get the Dragalge. Poisonous Nest, again, won't work on the Sceptile, but again, we should be able to evolve the Dusclops pretty soon. Hopefully, we can drag out that Malamar EX at some point. So yeah, we can't even poison the Sceptile. No need to get the Dragalge out, since the Dragalge can't, we can't poison it, so it can always retreat still. We see the Gyarados here. My opponent will poison us. We'll get hit perhaps with another Sleep Poison, but we desperately need to get the Sparkling Robe. We absolutely need to get the Sparkling Robe. My opponent does get a Forest of Giant Plants to counter our stadium, so we don't have the free retreat anymore. We can see there's the poison. There's the Poisonous Nest right here. And oh man, what can we do here? Let's see. My opponent goes for a Professor's Letter and grabs 2 of these basic energies. We should see my opponent play an energy in the next turn, but we're going to be moving that Grass Energy anyways. Here is a Sleep Poison. We even stay asleep. The question is, do we have, can we get that Sparkling Robe? That's the question here. And we could have gone for a VS Seeker, but we couldn't really go for that, I guess. But hey, look at this. We can actually knock out the Gyarados here. This is great. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll play the Dusknoir. We have enough damage counters. Move it all. Maybe we can get the Sparkling Robe off the prizes. If we can do that, that would be fantastic. Here it is. Let's just keep moving these damage counters one at a time. This Gyarados will go down. We can take a prize off of this. And again, we do have the Target Whistle. This Target Whistle will come into play in this game, hopefully. That way we can bring the, the Spinnerack back. So here is the Sparkling Robe. Let's go ahead and hit this guy with the Curly Ribbon. Move this onto that poor Hoopa EX. That thing's just sitting there. We do have a Team Flare Grunt, which we can take advantage of. Or better yet, we can start using the Poisonous Nest right now. We can go ahead and drag out the Malamar EX, use Poisonous Nest, and start hitting with Curly Ribbon. That way, I mean, I don't know. Ideally, I like to keep pushing more energies onto the Hoopa EX, but we could definitely go this route too. We do have Team Flare Grunt, which we can utilize to move discard energies if we really need to. If my opponent's able to use something like an Energy Switch and stuff like that, and we can see an Unseen Claw knock out our Sylveon. We have the Team Flare Grunt. We can move the energy and then also discard the energy of Team Flare Grunt. So we have a couple of things we can do here. Pretty flexible. Again, we're playing the expanded format, so my opponent can still play N, and that could be very devastating for us. Man, playing N would be such a bummer. Right now, we have a pretty decent hand. I do like my hand, and all right. So the only thing that could benefit us right now is if we can get that training center. But all right, so here we go. We see my opponent play an energy DCE on the Malamar EX. Let's just go ahead and let's go for the Poisonous Nest. We can probably play the energy on the Sylveon over here. You never know. You can use Echo Voice. And let's go for the Poisonous Nest. Our Sylveon isn't poisoned. Let's move the DCE onto that Hoopa EX. That Hoopa EX is totally jacked up with energies that it does not need. That is hilarious. Now, if we can pull this off, oh man, that'd be great. At some point, what I'd like to have happen is if we can move all the damage counters onto the Hoopa EX and knock it out and just get rid of all these energies, that'd be great. Because you never know. I mean, we could see something like Scramble Switch. That'd be so devastating. Here, my opponent plays a Shauna. Unless my opponent already played an A-Spec. I can't remember that. But here is another Sceptile EX right here. And I gotta wait and see. Does my opponent play energies? Oh, never mind. That's all we see. We do have a VS Seeker here. We've got a spinner rack. All right, so let's just burn that level ball, I suppose. I guess we could have searched through the deck if we really wanted to, but let's go for the Professor Birch's observation. I'm feeling pretty lucky here. We do draw in 7 cards. We do get another Sparkling Robe. We even have a Sacred Ash. We have a Target Whistle, which we can utilize as well. All right, let's just move these. Let's see here. What do we got? 3 Junipers, 2 Ends in the discard pile. Alrighty then. Okay, let's just go ahead. We'll move some damage counters on to over here. And oh, wait a second. Oh no. Oh wait. Oh yeah, he has the ability that stops abilities. All right, so we gotta move them on to the Sceptile over here. Oh, that's much better. Oh shucks, I wasted like 40 damages right there. That's a little bit disappointing, but that's okay. We'll show some mercy to our opponent. Oh man. All right, that was my mistake. Totally forgot that it has that ancient trait. So that ancient trait actually pulled off pretty well right here. Again, my opponent can still evolve to the Mega Sceptile. Oh my goodness, we see my opponent play a Sycamore. So my opponent's down to 17 cards. We're down to 11. And I gotta wait and see if we may end up getting decked out. Oh man, that would be pretty bad. We do have the Sacred Ash here as well as an N that we can utilize. And my opponent definitely has the Mega Sceptile on the bench over there, powered up and ready to go. So, question is, do we want to perhaps Lysander out the Mega Sceptile on the bench that has the 2 energies? That's a good question. I don't know if I really want to do that or not. But for now, we'll just kind of slowly but surely. We're going to take prizes this way. We have a target so we can bring back the spinner rack. And I think that's going to be the plan. So let's go ahead. We'll just hit for another 30 and just keep annoying my opponent with the curly ribbon. Probably could have gone with the Echo Voice, but yeah, I think I could have played the energy. We could go with an Echo Voice on the Sylveon on the bench. Could have done that as well. But you know what? We're gonna play this out nice and slow. Plus, I don't want to burn the energy on the active one. It was probably my mistake to invest onto the one on the bench. At this point, I probably would have gone with an Echo Voice. That would have been really good. But it looks like we're gonna be stuck with the curly ribbon, and I'm too conservative to retreat the Sylveon in the active spot. I'm too conservative. Plus, at this rate, it looks like we may be in for a very slow and long game. I'm tempted to play the energy, but I want to hold on it because of the risk of like decking out. I wanted to have the opportunity to play N and shuffle more cards into my deck. So there's those kind of scenarios as well. And so let's just go ahead. We'll just move this these damage counters over here onto the poor Virizion here. We will be able to knock it out this turn and take another prize right here. What do we get? Oh, hey, we got another Headringer. But we can't really use that. We could use it on the Malamar EX, perhaps if my opponent ever wants to attack with the Malamar EX. We'll just play it right there and force my opponent to play 3 energies. My opponent can still attack with, like, a DCE and a Darkness energy. So we'll target Whistle, bring back the spinner rack, and just put some more damage counters on the spinner rack over here. Again, I could play the energy on the Sylveon and start hitting for Echo Voice. But I'm going to go conservative here in case. But you know what? We might as well play it. Okay, so again, like I could have retreated. I definitely could have retreated, but I don't know. I don't want to burn any more energies than I really need to. I'll just keep the Sylveon in the active spot. So, all right. So right now we should be able to get the spinner rack in the next turn, knock it out, and yeah, take another prize that way. Gotta wait and see. My opponent can still retreat here. My opponent can play a DCE and retreat the Malamar EX, and then we can get hit with the Mega Sceptile EX. Definitely, that could be very devastating as well. Oh, there is the DCE. Should have saw that coming. Wait, I did. I totally did. Okay, there's the retreat. We will get hit with the Jagged Saber. My opponent can heal off the damage counters from the Malamar EX, and that's not the best, but hey, it is what it is. Oh no, my opponent does plays Hex Maniac. That way I can't use the Poisonous Nest, nor can I use yeah, so the problem here is my opponent was able to retreat since we weren't able to get the Dragalge out. Now this would have never happened if we were able to get Dragalge out, but we have yet to see Dragalge. We do have a Hypnotoxic Laser though. That's actually kind of nice. Let's go ahead. We can play Hypnotoxic Laser. Perhaps we can put our opponent to sleep, and we do. We put my opponent to sleep. Let's go ahead and do the Team Flare Grunt. Let's go ahead and move the energy. Go with the Curly Ribbon. We'll even play this right here. No need to use the air arrows here. Hit for 30. Move this onto the Hoopa EX, and we should be safe. Unless my opponent plays Energy Switch, then yeah, we should be safe. We can still see an energy switch and an energy drop, and then we can get hit with Jagged Saber. That would be very disappointing. We will need to play Sacred Ash and then play an N. Either that, or we can Lysander out the. Oh no, we see a Mega Turbo instead. Do we see an energy drop from my opponent's hand? And there is the energy drop. We're gonna get hit with. Oh my goodness, we didn't even get a chance to use Echo Voice. That is devastating. So right now, I may just need to promote this Scralp and let the Scralp just take a hit for us. We could. What I can do is knock out the Spinarak using Dusknoir Sinister Hand, and maybe we can get a Sylveon that way, but. I don't know, this is a little bit too late right now. Let's go ahead and shuffle all these Pokemon back into our deck. We do have a Lysander which we can play, but I'm really tempted to just play an N. So this is going to be, depending on what we get from the prize cards. Let's see. Oh, we get an Eevee. Oh, that's nice. That way if my opponent Lysanders out one of them, we still have one more to use. Let's go ahead and play this right here. And we do get the Dragalge right here. And great. We have the Eevee. We can use Energy Evolution and get the Sylveon, but... a little bit too late here. Oh, man. Should have... Well, I don't know. I guess I could have promoted the Eevee, but we ended up promoting the Scralp because I felt like, well, you know, it's a Scralp. And we should have another Dragalge, which we can evolve into, but... yeah, I don't know. This is not looking the best. My opponent does Lysander out the Sylveon. We will survive the turn, though. The Jagged Saber is only hitting for 100. We will survive the turn. As long as we have that Training Center active, we will be able to. So, I actually have to thank my opponent for doing that. Thanks for dragging out the Sylveon. I don't mind at all. I actually appreciate that. My opponent puts down the energy onto this, but we stay asleep. So, this is not good. Definitely not good at all. What I can do is Lysander out the... oh, man. We could Lysander out. We could play Colress. But you know what? I'm going to play it safe. We'll bring out this Sceptile EX, Mega Sceptile EX. I could have played Colress, but man, I would be at such a huge risk of decking out, and I don't feel very comfortable with that. And I know some of you guys may be going for a more aggressive route, may have gone for the Colress, but I've decided to go this instead. Maybe I could buy myself a turn. We could see my opponent play another Mega Turbo or something like that. I don't know. I don't even think my opponent has any energies in the discard pile right now, but we see the Malamar EX plays another energy right there. And oh my goodness, we do get another Sylveon here. That's kind of nice. And as of right now, there's not much we can do. We do wake up. I gotta wait to see does my opponent just let's see what I mean. We're down to 8 cards. My opponent's down to 10. Who's gonna deck out first? This is I'm not feeling very comfortable with this. Oh no, the Malamar EX can actually attack now, so that is pretty brutal. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. My opponent keeps putting us to sleep too, and if we keep falling asleep, we're not going to be able to... Oh, my opponent discarded the energy retrieval, and we see my opponent go for an Ultra Ball. We do see an Lugia EX here, and that means my opponent... well, it's not like we're going to move energies on the Lugia EX anyways, but I do understand my opponent wanted to play that so that my opponent won't need to deal with, you know, more... what was it? Target whistles. Finally, we wake up. Man, this is one lazy Sylveon. This Sylveon just keeps falling asleep. I mean, I can imagine why it's falling asleep. It's probably because it's so damaged right now. It's got 100 damage on it. It's more than it can handle besides without the training center. So this Sylveon's been training way too hard, way too much. And here it is. My opponent's going to hit us for 100 damage, draw a prize card. And we have to imagine how many cards has energy cards has my opponent already used, and let's go for the curly ribbon. We can move the grass energy onto the Hoopa EX over here, and we can see right here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Who knows? That's so many energies my opponent's already has on the field. What is that? 5 grass energies plus the DCE, and oh my goodness, so many energies. And there it is. My opponent plays a Spirit Link onto the Hoopa EX. There's no energies in the discard pile, so we're not going to be able to see any more, what do you call it, Mega Turbos. So let's just keep moving these energies onto the Hoopa EX. This Hoopa EX is so super powered right now, and it can't do anything. It even has a Spirit Link and doesn't even use the Spirit Link. We have probably the most useless Hoopa ever to exist in Pokemon TCG in a match. Right now, this Hoopa is just sitting there with a ton of energies. And one way my opponent could get some energies in the discard pile is maybe AZ the Hoopa EX. That could work. And oh, whoa, we see an energy drop on the Mega Sceptile EX over there. So we got to be very ultra careful right now. We're down to our last Sylveon, and this is not looking really good. So we'll just hit for that and see if we can buy some more turns. My opponent is down to 5 cards. We are down to 4. We could end up decking out before my opponent. If anything, maybe we may be able to. Oh my goodness! My opponent just decked himself out. He played the Sycamore, and he just decked himself out. So we can just pass the turn in the next turn. My opponent plays an energy, puts us to sleep. We wake up. We can probably just pass the turn. But you know what? We're gonna go for one more curly ribbon anyways, and we'll pass the turn this way, and that's it for the match. Oh my goodness, we pulled off a victory. That is ridiculous. Well, I'm glad we were able to get that win. And you can see right here, wow, we hit for 360 damage. We see 420 from my opponent. We were able to flip 7 heads. That's kind of nice. My opponent did flip 4 heads while we flipped 1. Look how many energies my opponent played. It's 15 energies. We only played 6. Of course, our deck is pretty energy efficient, but that Dusknoir was huge in this game. Being able to, and that target whistle. That target whistle was so convenient, bringing out that Spinnerack and knocking it out. We were able to take 3 prizes that way. And, you know, we're probably able to, if we would have kept on going, we may have been able to take out the Hoopa EX with all the damage counters on that Mega Sceptile EX. So, all right, that's it for the video. Hope you guys liked the video. If you guys did, you guys give it a video with a thumbs up. And you guys, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. And if you are a returning subscriber, thanks so much for being a part of this channel, being part of this journey. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys take care. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.